Yeah, any talk is good talk. So,
Hell yeah.
and shit talk.
Even if it's shit talk.
There's plenty of
How
shit
about
talk
that for
here
a
in this
plug?
room. Hey everybody, it's Shit Talk Reviews. Thank you for sitting down and spending some time with us. It is a good day for us. I'm John. Of course, we have Derek and Dave here. And joining us via Zoom is Eric Morgan. And you are in the Garden State,
Yes,
right?
I am.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Been here for a while. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the fray, man. It's good to have you with us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Most professional outfits would have a really beautiful, succinct intro as to who you are, what your history is, but we're three idiots who don't have a clue what we're doing. So I'm going to ask. Now. Oh, sweet. Well, good. You're definitely in good company.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
So I will ask you to go ahead and just give us the quick synopsis of your musical history and why you might be sitting in this room with us.
It goes back to the 80s. I started playing bass in the 80s, like right in 1980, right before I turned 10. And I was in a bunch of local bands, played Lemoore a lot, which is how I know like Johnny and a lot of those Brooklyn guys. Like we're all from that same scene. Had guys from Carnivore produce us, like our first demo and all that. So it was, kind of like a lot of the neighborhood together kind of thing all the time. And it was like a lot of brother band stuff. So we were younger too, and it was before it was getting real competitive. And not that damaged anything, but it was like a different kind of vibe. It was real, young skateboard guy, going around, going to shows, getting on shows, everybody helping each other out, get shows. Like if somebody got an in with a club like Animal Hall, we were playing there all the time. So we'd be like, yeah, let me get Toxemia on, which Sal was in. And, bring in Johnny's band. He was in a band with Kenny called Hellraiser back then, and getting cool with the guys from LOA before they blew up, all that kind of stuff. So
now this would be Johnny Kelly from Typo, correct. Sal Labrusco also from Typo.
Yes, and okay. LOA.
Sorry, do I have Sal's last name right?
Abruscato.
Okay, apologies. What was the first band you were in that started to get any traction?
Back then, it was called First Order, and that was a little bit proggy, but thrashy, but dancey. Skinhead kind of dancey. Like we had a big, pretty decent skin following for a bunch of long hairs. We kind of got away with it, and it was, it's our drummer Andy Elder. He was just great kick-ass drummer. Still is, still a beast, and just did simple things that it's like we were doing tricky stuff, but he would do stuff that would keep like the snare and the china simple, and people latched onto that, and it was like real heavy. So it was kind of like a couple of guys. You call this now. They're like, wow, it's like Meshuggah before Meshuggah, but not as like crazy as that. That stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I can count this out. And sometimes I'm like, I can't figure this out.
Where can we hear that stuff? Is any of it still floating around?
Actually, yeah, I'm working on that now. I got something going with the connections I made through Patriarchs with Helvin Records, Faster and Louder Records over there that put out the Patriarch stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm mixing the third demo because we had all the session files for that from the 80s, and I'm mixing that, just cleaning it up. Not like it's still truly original demos. I don't want to change it. None of us want to change it. Like, we all spoke about it, and just want to kind of fatten it up, beef it up, and clean it up. So I'm kind of working on that now, and then just mastering the two demos before that, and they're gonna release it, so it's gonna be out.
Wow, cool. That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So that'll be out soon. I'll let you know when.
So we brought you here to talk about Patriarchs in Black, and there's a new album coming out. But before we get to that, I don't think that we have given you enough of a backstory. Tell us a little bit about Pale Horse Named Death, what you did with them, and just so that viewers know or listeners know, who Eric is, because you're a pretty talented dude. I've seen you in person do it. But you have a storied history, man. You've done a lot of music, a lot of production. You're involved with a lot of things. So give us the 30,000 foot view before we get into Patriarchs.
Yeah, that was, I got a call. Sal called me up. It was like he messaged me on Facebook because we were like friends on there. And he's like, hey, can I talk to you, later on? I won't waste your time. kind of thing. And I knew he had a band going on, like he was starting something up at least, but I actually didn't think I'd had anything to do with that. I just thought he was like reaching out. And it came out to be that they were looking for a bassist. And he says, back then you were the guy that everybody wanted in the band. He's like, and if you've still been playing, you can't have gotten worse.
Yeah.
And he was like, would you want to kind of check it out? Come down, play with us, see how it feels. And I was like, yeah, sure. I knew Bobby from Biohazard, not like super tight, but we were, friends from back then. We were in each other's company all the time. And, I knew Johnny, same thing, like not super tight, but we were friends, like that, like scene guys. And, it just kind of all came together. And then they put the record out and we toured on that, went overseas bunch, which I never thought I would do, which is great,
Yeah, you got to go everywhere.
Yeah. A lot of places I kind of, thought, I'm not, it's cool. I'm working on a lot of music. I'm doing a lot of stuff, like a lot of production stuff and things like that. But, I kind of wrote off that I wasn't going to get to do that. So it was kind of like a real cool bucket list thing that really turned into like, oh shit, everything on my bucket list. I'm like starting to keep up everything, and it was like repeated, trips to Europe and the second record. And there was a lot of cool buzz around the band at the time. So it was like really cool to be a part of that. But it was just kind of like, wow, this is actually happening. Wow, that's cool. Not that we were like Metallica or anything, but it was just like, mid-tier kind of band, and like being like, oh shit, we're playing Wacken, which wanted to play Wacken when I first heard about it. And then all it's like, wow, we're playing Wacken 2014. We did it.
Yeah. What was it like stepping out onto that stage? I mean, that's a big crowd.
No, that was a lot. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like we have the whole show. And I remember like we're standing there and we're kind of line checking just to make sure like, okay, yeah, I got your bass, I got your guitar, blah, blah, blah. And, thinking like, wow, this is about to happen. This curtain's closed and all that. Then I hear the guy talking in German, this big robust voice, and then I hear, oh, bellows. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go, like that. And curtains open and I see all the heads. And it was kind of like, if you see the video, I walked back over by my amp, like right afterwards, because I was like, holy shit, I'm doing it. Like we're up here doing this.
I got to ask you because there's probably no better feeling in the world to be on stage playing music that you love in front of people like that. But bring me behind the scenes because it's got to be an amazing feeling. Just what is 5-10 minutes before showtime like? Is it a routine? Is it a routine every night, or is it different every night?
Yes, for me at least. I mean, there's guys they warm up and stuff. I usually don't warm up. It's like I'm just kind of fiddling with it while we're waiting to go on. But I'm not like sitting down for 20 minutes before or any of that. Maybe I should. I just usually don't. But I get like that nervousness that I kind of dig though, because you turn it into something positive, and it just kind of makes it more alive.
It was interesting. Dave got nervous before talking to you, and he started stroking his penis. So, like, it's not that he's into you, Eric. He just gets nervous, and that's what he does.
Hey, Eric, do you still get nervous before shows even today?
Yeah. I think I always will. I hope I always am because that means I actually give a shit, and I care about what I'm about to do.
Right.
That's kind of how I started to look at it as I got older. I'm like, I always turned it around. I was always nervous, even, in my teens. I started playing shows when I was like 12 and I was shit show, crazy nervous then, and I still get the same kind of butterflies. I still get pretty freaked out and not freaked out in a bad way, but it kind of like, it's a good feeling. It's like I'm getting excited, nervous, like, usually I don't really talk much right before then either. Like, just kind of like, okay, well, even if we're playing like a smaller venue, and stuff, it's still the same thing. Like I'm still kind of turning that nervous energy into something positive and,
right.
Kind of being exactly right there, like as zen as you could get. Like, to me, it's just like a meditation thing. It's like you're in that moment right now. And that's the most important thing.
It's got to be an amazing feeling, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah. I love it. I miss it. We haven't like done any touring or anything since 2019. And, even with the newer bands and stuff, I'm playing on a lot of people's records and doing a lot of stuff from the studio here. And it's great. But it's like, there is like, sometimes I miss it a little bit. Like, I'm kind of like, I want to do that. I want to do that again, kind of, it's just a cool feeling, very powerful for me. Like it hits me every time. Doesn't matter where we're playing. But something like Brocken, it was like, holy shit, because it was really like a life goal bucket list thing for me. And I was like, I'm here doing it, with these guys.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's great.
Yeah, it was
Does Johnny still get upset or nervous, or not upset, but nervous before he plays? Because he's been doing this a long time with 8,000 bands, and I have a game for you here in a second after you answer.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine he does, because he's and he gives a shit about the show, really big. I think everybody I've ever dealt with, any band I've ever been in, the people in it are like, they take it very seriously and stuff. So I'm sure he does get a bit of a nervous thing. There is. So, I mean, we never spoke about it or anything, but we were on tour. He and I were the roommates, and we would talk about everything. But we never actually really talked about that. But I would imagine he does, because he kicks it, he brings it every night,
He is so laissez-faire about everything. Like even recording that video in Philadelphia for A Pale Horse Named Death, he was like, whatever, we'll just do it. There's no nerves, just hangs out, drinks his Corona, and that's it.
No, he's a total pro. He's got it. And he's real laid back like that. But I would imagine there's like a bit of, I wouldn't say nervous jitters like I get. I couldn't say that. I'm not sure where he sits with that.
So on the Johnny, no, he does care for sure. So on the Johnny front, can you name every band that he's in right now?
Right now, I mean, there's Patriarchs, 3. Was that IAM, Patriarchs, Quiet Riot, Silver Tune.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it right now. But if you want to talk about everybody's been in, it's like Typo, Danzig,
yes,
you get into all that too. But
Professor Derek, did he get it right?
He did. He nailed it. And the one band that he did, it says that he filled in on was Black Label Society. Yeah, there's a pretty big list. It's impressive to look at that. All right, so talk to us. How did Patriarchs in Black come together? It was funny because I was looking at your Instagram and I kept seeing you doing all this production. How much production are you doing for the band, and how involved in it are you?
For that, I mean, the production part of it for me is mainly just doing my bass tracks, because they'll send me like a stereo mix of like the track where it's at, and you got all like the dead air and the boop, 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 like metronome, like count and stuff. Yeah. And I just do my tracks with that. They have another guy, J-Rod, that does all the mixing and editing and all that stuff. But I'll do all the bass like production here. I do that. I like get all those things mic'd up and too loud and, get that down on tape, and then I fly that out, send that out to them. Or like, on the first record, I did the string sections and all the orchestration stuff for Kashmir. So I did that here too, which was a real pain in the ass.
Hey, Eric,
well
in a good way.
Eric, speaking of Kashmir, unbelievable job, unreal version of that song, along with the Immigrant song. Absolutely, in my eyes, nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
great
renditions.
With all of it.
I love the liberties that you took with the bass parts on Kashmir. They were perfect.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. There was no bass track. I had to make one up. He plays Mellotron the whole time. That's what I heard. Well
done.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. There's a bunch of good people on the whole Patriarchs thing. It's a blast, because there's some real cool cats that they get to pull in. And you're like, oh shit, I'm on a track with Carl Legel. It was like from COC, and he's in Lie Heavy now. And he does that Trouble thing, the Skull, when they tour with, and like, I'm like, holy shit, I played, I'm on 2 tracks with him, and, my friend Jimmy Necco did Kashmir, and, Jimmy for like 26 years. Kid's amazing, and took us 26 years to get on a song together, but we did.
Yeah. Who else did you work with?
My favorite Zeppelin track.
Who else did you work with on that record outside of the core band?
On the first one, let me see, it was Carl, those 2, Jimmy. There's another one, and it's going to drive me bananas because I can't think of which one it is. Oh, Submission Bell. We have Rob Trainer. He's from Blackwater Rising. He sang on that one. So on that, I did those 4 tracks, because they have other bass players that play on the record too. Mm-hmm. They just it's always Dan, Lorenzo, and Johnny Kelly. It's always, guitar and drums. And they bring in other guys based on who they think will do, like, hey, that's right up his alley. Have him do that one. It's cool because I'll work on the tracks and I'm like, that's a pretty cool track, and I'm like, let me do something with it. And I'll think it's pretty cool, like, all right. And then like the vocalist gets on it and then it gets a proper mix. And I'm like, holy crap, that's a really good song. And it kind of takes it like, beyond where I thought it would go. When I hear it after with everybody's input, it's cool because they don't really tell you what to do. They're like, they kind of call people for the tracks for what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it really, I think, an interesting record. Even then, the tracks I didn't play on, when I listened to them, like, that's a really cool spin on that. Or like not that they did a cover, but like the way I wouldn't have approached it that way, so to speak. So when I hear how somebody else looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea. Like whatever they did. And the vocalists, great guys, they're pulling from, like, great pool of people.
So in the fall, My Veneration is coming out. I hope I said that correctly. Patriarchs in Black's new album. Is there anything that you can spill the beans about that, and we can start the buzz about that record when it comes out? Yeah,
I mean, I could tell you a little. I don't want to step on anybody's toes because it is like Dan and Johnny's thing. Even though both of them are like, "Why are you asking me?" Like, yeah, I'm like, "Is it cool if I mention this? Is it cool if I talk?" They're like, "Yeah, of course," like that. So, I mean, there's the tracks I've heard that I'm on. The four I did, I think they're really killer tunes, and like the production level is like bigger. It's kind of like everything's getting more dialed in. And, I know the people that they have on the tracks. I've heard some of the final mixes, like for two of the tracks that I worked on, and they're killer. Like, even my son was like, that's a really good song. Like, because I was doing a car test, I wanted to check it in the car too. And he was like, that was cool. And I was like, yeah, it's a good song. This guy, Bobby Jensen, sang on that. And it's got a really nasty, like, kind of like 70s snotty rock vibe that I love. Mm-hmm. It's like perfect for the track. Like, it's a real cool, like, 70s thing, but it's still current, but it's got like a nice attitude. Like, it sounds like something that could have popped out in the 70s, like, easy. Cool
what I find interesting about the band is it's a very much rock, but it has production qualities of metal because of the background, and it just feels like a big metal sound. It's not thin at all, and I appreciate that very much. I mean, it has the classic the drum tracks sound like Typo Negative, which you would expect. It has that sound to it.
Yeah, that huge. Yeah, it's Johnny. It's got the Johnny DNA. And it's huge kick drum. Everything. It's just it sounds killer. Like, I dig it. And when I get the finals, I'll play them in the studio here if they're not home, or I just go, hey, this song's like 3.5 minutes, but I got to crank it. And I'll turn the song on. And like I'll just blast it, and I'm like, I'll listen to it low. And then I'm like, I got to crank this one real quick, just once. I got to check it out. And then I'll blare it with the subwoofer on. And then I got to straighten out the pictures seriously in the studio. Like, I'll play it that loud.
That's great.
Start to like tilt on the walls and shit. So it's, yeah. It's pretty.
I'm a production guy. I do a little of my own work. And so I gravitate to that when listening to most music, how they achieve this, how they achieve that.
Right.
My question for you and the production you're doing, either on your own bass tracks or, if you're producing an entire record or what have you, where do you land on the technology spectrum? Are you an analog guy, a digital guy, a lot of plugins, or you like to twist knobs?
No, I'm kind of like right in the middle. I like I use Universal Audio's Luna. I was a Pro Tools guy for forever, and that system died. So I got a new one. Just because it was really because I didn't like that Pro Tools had this whole subscription-based service. Yeah. I'm like, if I'm buying a $3,000 interface, you better be giving me a lifetime license on the software. And they did. And then I found out, wow, all the key commands are the same, like the shortcuts and all that. And I found out it's all these people that split from Pro Tools or got let go when Avid took them over or something like that. So it's like real easy to get in, but I use it in a very tape way, like a very linear way. Like, I don't look at it like, okay, I played that perfect, I'm just going to copy paste that. I'll still play it straight through. And if I start the song and I screw up like a minute and change in, I'll destroy the track. I'll just
the whole track.
Cancel the track and start from the beginning again, because I have like a thing myself that I like to like do it from start to finish, and just be like, I did that whole thing, straight through, no punches. And I'll punch if I'm later, though. I'm not going to lie. But if it came out great and then I screwed something up at the very end, I'm punching that shit in. But
I can see Dave starting to glaze over right now about all this production stuff. So I'll limit the questions. But
Yeah, but
and
that I
another
like the
question.
analog stuff too. But I have a lot of analog preamps that are right over here, and I'll move mics around and all that. Like I don't like to do too much in there. I like
Mhm.
documenting it, in the digital domain.
This will be the last production related question because, like I said, Dave's actually falling asleep right now.
He might cry. He's such a pussy. Oh
No,
my
it's all
God.
it's all good. It's all
But
good.
you got a favorite piece of gear? Like what is your go-to, either bass related,
Yeah.
general studio related? What do you love in that room that you're sitting in?
For basses, I got a Rick, and I was a Rick guy for a long time, and I got this newer Rick like in 2020, and I love that thing. I've been using that a lot lately, as much as I can. I just
Yeah.
got this other like Franken P bass, like a 51 P bass that's right here to my left. That's another one. That's a beast that I just
Nice.
got. And that's a lot of fun. But the amps, I love all of the Varellans. I got these two Varellan amps back there. Can't really see it past this thing. That and like there's certain preamps. Like I have these Black Lion, like a Neve style pre,
Mhm.
and they had the API pre. I wanted to get like both flavors, and I dig mixing and matching mics with those, like ribbon mics or like Electro Voice RE20.
Yeah.
Just the big beasts. That long penis mic.
Yep. I gotta know
Better phrase.
what's the story with the china and the cymbals you've got on that stand behind you?
That's I have like a drum. I think it's like an 18-inch floor.
Mhm.
I'll use that stuff on tracks. Like I'll do like these real caveman-y kind of drums on things. And I find that I use that thing quite a bit, so it just kind of stays out. And I'll use
Oh,
those
nice.
same cymbals, but I bow the cymbals a lot to
Oh,
get those like
beautiful.
weird horror movie kind of noises out of them.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
they're
weird
not
textures.
just decorative pieces. That's awesome.
No, I just have the way they're like standing up like that. It's
Yeah.
just to make floor space.
Love it.
So
Trying.
when are you getting out on the road? Is there anything on the horizon that's going to get you out on the road again?
I don't know. I don't really see anything really happening right now. It's been like a lot of studio stuff.
Mhm.
I'd love to. Patriarchs thing would be cool if it went live. We'd have to find like a singer that can pull it all off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to say that I am the bassist for it, but I would like to be.
Well,
Yeah.
right. And there's a lot of people involved in it. But
Right, the
it is
logistics are crazy.
crazy, but it's such a cool concept. And it really feels like it's art for the sake of art. It's fun. It's a passion project. And that's what drew me into it. I saw you having fun. I saw Johnny having fun. I've known you guys for a while, and seeing you guys having fun and the business side of doesn't seem like it's part of the equation. And maybe
Yeah,
I'm
not
wrong
really,
on that.
especially not on my end. But
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's
it is.
awesome.
It's a lot of fun, and just I've been doing a lot of that in general here. Working on somebody like a friend of mine, June. Really good friend of mine. He's out in Atlanta. He was like, "Hey, I got this kind of singer songwriter thing that I'm tripping out and getting kind of electronica with." That he was producing this guy, and he's like, "You want to play bass on that?" And I played on a ton of that stuff, and it was kind of fun because it was not metal. It wasn't heavy. I do like everything musically, but I tend to get called for the heavy because that's what I'm known for, which is totally fine. I'm not complaining. I love that. I love the heavy. I get off on that.
Can we expect to hear you do any Steely Dan covers in the
Oh my
future?
God. That's like one of my favorite bands. It really is. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
that. You're saying that jokingly. But
No. I say that with all seriousness. I would love to hear that.
I love Steely Dan. That's like my top bands, like seriously, I love them. I don't know if I could do any of their stuff any more justice. It's so perfect.
Maybe it just needs a layer of heavy to it.
Yeah, maybe I'll just I'll take a track. Nah, I'll probably ruin it. No, that's
Any-
terrible.
Anything like the
I'll
Zeppelin
insult the
covers.
track.
Yeah.
Walter Beck will be turning over in his grave.
I was going to say, if it's anything like the Zeppelin covers, I think you'll be fine. Just outstanding. So it'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Eric, I have to ask because I floated out there with some of the old super fans of Typo Negative and A Pale Horse Named Death what they wanted me to ask you. And as you would expect, it was about Peter. And what they wanted to know is if you had any stories about Peter that may or may not have, made it out into the world. I was like, you don't want to ask Eric about Eric? They're like, no. No, any Peter stories that they have
I don't
from
want to talk
the
about
carnivore taste. Yeah. So anything you can share with them to give them some Peter, Phil, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know him like as well as the guys, like the rest of the guys did. Like I wasn't in a band with Pete. It was more that Keith Alexander was the guitar player for Carnivore. He was like producing us, but Pete was always cool to us. One, I'll give you this. The story that I could give you is I had a friend, Mike White, and his daughter, Jesus Christ, his sister was dating Pete. And I believe they got married, and I believe that's what all the early typo stuff is about. Like, we were like the little peons coming over the house. She's like, "Oh, Mike, you shithead friends here," blah, 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 things like that. And I remember going past her room, and Pete was in her room sitting on the floor, and his knees were like probably up at like my chest level because I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'6". But I walked by and I see this huge guy with long hair, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's Pete Steele." That's, or Lord Petrus Steele. That's what he was known as when he was in Carnivore. And I go into Mike's room. I was like, "Is that Peter Steele?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's my sister's boyfriend." And he's like disgusted or whatever. Well, not really disgusted, but just like, "Oh, you like him too," kind of thing. Like, because he hated everything about his sister. And I just remember going in being like, "Hey, I'm a big fan." And he was like, "You're not so big." Just,
That's a fucking great
funny
story.
Yeah, not like a dick move or anything. Just he's always funny. Like anytime I ran into him, he'd have like something kind of snarky to say, but it was always like kind of quick and passing. Like, I didn't know him that intimately, like I said. But yeah, they helped us out a lot. They got us on the shows. That's what got us in Lemoore. They were kind of like, give them a shot, and that's what kind of got us on that path to where I ended up meeting Sal and Johnny and all those kind of guys. Like we were getting a name for ourselves locally with First Order with that band. So,
who knew, right? That would be the trajectory of your life from that point on. It's crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, if not for them, you wouldn't have seen the world. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And there's all sorts of, so much stuff, that I would miss tons of it. Like later on, I'll go, "Oh, I should have mentioned that." When I think about it later, like there's so many cool things, even from like the beat, things that you would think are boring, like beat kind of things. Like when I was in Berlin for the first time and I kind of like looked down and I had like Converse on and I was looking at the cobblestone street and I was like, "I'm in Berlin." And I was kind of just like, holy shit. It's like, you're going there, you're scheduled, you're going to get there. But my first time there, even any other time I've gone to Berlin, I've always been like blown away by that. Like, it never changes. Like, and I be like, "Wow, this is like Google Street View for real."
Yeah.
So there's a ton of great stuff that always, I got a lot out of it.
Yeah, I asked some people if they had questions for you, and I sort of averaged out what people wanted to know. And the biggest question was this: when you're dining, having a meal next to someone, are you the kind of guy that would share your utensils?
Well, but with my family, yeah, but not some dude across the way. But you mean like if they don't have like a knife and fork?
Like this is so
like,
good.
"Oh, we don't have a knife and fork," and they wait for the waitress, and I got an extra.
They're sort of like, like, what a great piece of chicken. You've got to try it. Do you hand your fork over?
No, usually it's
if it was Dave,
get to go out.
If Dave was right next to you, would you let Dave use your spoon?
He would.
Dave,
I think he would. Yeah, there you
Dave
go.
for sure. Yeah.
Look, we appreciate.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
We ask our guests to be honest, Eric, not bullshit the listener.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you, Eric brought this, you guys, this band Patriarch Star to me. I didn't know anything about you. I love it. I think you guys are great. I mean, I've been listening to Reach the Scars all week and digging what you guys are doing. For you to come on and take time, me personally, I'm honored. It's pretty cool. You seem like a really down to earth guy. So I really hope this goes somewhere for you. I do.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys reaching out and asking, it's always cool to get on and talk,
Well, like I said,
I work from home a lot, so I got no interaction. I need my social interaction.
Like I said, I was meaning to reach out to you, and then it occurred to me. I go, wait, if I'm going to do this, let's do it like this. This is way more fun, and then I got to dangle the carrots out with the pale horse typo negative super fans. It was great to reach out to them and Say, hey, I'm talking to Eric.
I'm surprised anybody wants to hear about me.
Oh no. I think it's safe to say that once you're in, I mean, it's interesting. As soon as I helped Sal with Pale Horse, that's it. These people have followed me and they haven't gone away. And it's kind
they're
of like
a real fan base, man. They really are. Yeah, the fans are great people. I got tons of fans that have became friends, and
That's
I
cool.
talk to them all the time.
Yeah.
I'll post goofy shit about my dog, and I'll still have them. I go, oh yeah, I remember that, and I'll go, oh yeah, they're from Paris. Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Like I'll see them pop up, and it kind of keeps us. As much as I don't like all the kind of horseshit that sometimes comes with social media, there is that part of it that I really think is important, and it's cool, and it's nice. I'm not always just up there like ban stuff. I'll post, oh shit, my tiger lilies bloomed out front finally, and the deer didn't eat them. I'll put up some pretty basic normal crap, and it's like, oh, out for an early morning walk with my dog, and then I get like all these interactions, like, oh yeah, I remember this cat, or that chick, and we'll start talking again.
You're just a normal guy doing something that we all wish we can do, right?
Yeah, imagine that. You're just a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think of it. So it's a lot of it for me is like it's documenting certain things. Sometimes like I'll look back at it later on and be like, oh wow, look, how different the dog is now, or whatever, or how big the going back to the tiger lilies. I'm a big bonsai tree plant guy. I love plants and stuff like that. So it's like I'll kind of use it to see how much the tiger lilies that keep coming back every year through our nasty winters, I keep getting them coming back and how much bigger they're getting, so I'll use it for that kind of purpose too.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to reconnect with people and stay in touch with people that I'm real good friends with,
What's weird about it is the Pale Soldiers of Death, when I rolled that out, it became a thing. And, the fans were already there. I mean, where Sal and Johnny and Kenny go, they are going to be followed. And if Josh was still playing music, they are passionate. Right. But they have stayed and they have staying power. And if you help those guys out, you're in. And it's amazing to see that. And that Pale Soldiers of Death thing, starting that just was a whole thing, and they haven't gone away.
No, it's cool. Like I said, I still see them, popping up in my feeds and stuff. And when we went overseas, at least for me, a lot of times it was like being somewhere without being a tourist, because like they wanted you there. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a different vibe. So when I got to see the cities, it was with a different kind of pair of glasses, I guess. It's like I'm not going there like, Chevy Chase National Lampoon Vacation, like putzing around. It's like you're going there for a purpose, seeing things. And then there's people there that are eager to show you their city, which is really cool. And then getting to see, like, we have a good friend, Malta, and he's in Hamburg. And when we go to Hamburg, he would take us, boom, we go out and we go to like, you go down the Reeperbahn, haha, it's funny,
Yep.
And then he's like, now we're going to check this place out. And you go somewhere where the locals really go. That's
very
not
cool.
Unmarked places like this place, Clockers. Good luck finding it, because you can't, and it's like almost like a speakeasy without being one. You just got to know that that door on that side is the one that you go in, kind of thing. And you go in and it's just chill. They're playing like Massive Attack. You're hanging out, having beers. And I'm like, I'm in Hamburg,
having a rave.
Well, it's just like real chill, like laid back, like kind of stuff. And a lot of times when we couldn't get out, like sometimes you're in town, you throw your shit in the hotel room, or it just stays in the tour bus. You go inside, you load in, you set up, you sound check, you eat your dinner, and then you wait and you play. And then you got to bolt kind of right away because you got a long drive, to get to the next show. So sometimes the way I would get a feel for the city was by meeting the people like at merch and just hanging out and talking. Then I would come out from behind merch and be like, I'm not selling shirts. I want to talk to people, kind of get a feel for the city by meeting the people of the city. It was cool. Like there was a lot of spots. I'm like, I like going there a lot. I like these towns and these cities. And
to your credit, you like to talk to people.
I'm a freaking chatterbox too. Sometimes I don't know when to shut up, but it's, I mean, that's a bigger part of it. I mean, you're driving for so long, sometimes, and you can only watch Borat so many times, or like, and I would work from the road a lot too. And that was helpful, but when you get there, it's like, you're like, now I get to talk to people, I get to hang out and, socialize. And not that we were like, didn't like our bandmates and stuff like that. Like we would talk and everything, but then it would always be that hush and everybody would just be
Mhm.
quiet. So when we got to talk to fans, man, it was great.
Why not do that anyway? You're there. Just enjoy the experience. What's around you. It's
Even if it was like a dump, like, we played some dumps and it was still cool people. It just made up for it.
right.
You play a place like, one place we played, I found out, well after the tour was over, we played a place in Romania, in Timisoara, I think it's called. And I loved it because the place was so like, it was falling apart. And I loved that about it. Like Johnny hit his kick and the lights would dim. And like, I would there was electricity coming up like an audio cable. Like I got like, low voltage, but I'm like, that's electricity. I'm getting zapped. What the fuck's going on?
Hey, Eric, what's the craziest venue you've ever played where you're on stage? You're almost looking at the guy next to you like, holy fuck, this is insane. What kind of experience was that for you, and where was it?
I'll say, kind of going back to crazy would be like that Timisoara, that Romanian show where the place was like falling apart. It was a really good show. It was like a sold out show. It wasn't a massive place, but it was a sold out show and everyone was jazzed that we were there. So that was a really awesome experience. Of course, Vakken, that goes without saying.
Yeah, Vakken, forget it. Yeah.
Like looking over at Eddie at Vakken at one point, we were just like, and we just smiled at each other. It was kind of like, hi, buddy.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was just like real, not like, yeah, fucking rock. Like we just looked at each other like, hey, pal, like, we're doing
Look what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hey, Ma, it's rocking.
Right. It was like kind of funny, like sobering funny. Like, it's like you're very, because Eddie and I are on the same side of the stage. So we're always very kind of like grounding for me, because he's also very chill. And sometimes I'll just look over and it'll be something funny. There's a lot of still pictures of us laughing, about something that happened. And, I'm sure one of them was like, I got hit in the face with his headstock or something, or I like tripped on the drum riser, like, something real stupid, Spinal Tap moment that you don't want happening in front of lots of people.
For those who don't know, Eddie Heedles is who he's talking about. Eddie is the guitarist, lead guitarist in A Pale Horse Named Death, and a truly fantastic dude as well.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's like a brother to me. I love that kid.
He's a great dude.
Kid. Yeah, like I'm so much older than him. I am older than him, I think by like 5 years, but no, he's a great guy. I love Eddie.
I will ask you one more question because I read it and John and I were kind of talking about it. Bill Ward, have you worked with him before? Because
I wish.
Okay. I thought I had seen that. Thought I would.
No,
ask,
they have. Yeah, Johnny and Kenny have definitely worked.
Okay.
With He's like a good friend of Johnny's. Bill. That blows my mind. Like Johnny would be like, Bill said happy birthday. With little like cake emoji and stuff like that. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Fucking Bill Ward.
Yeah, and to be honest, Eric, the only reason I asked that is because just reading on you before we did this, I read your story when you heard Black Sabbath, Iron Man. You were hooked from that point on to become a musician. So I figured if you worked with Bill Ward, if you had that experience, it probably would have been amazing. But I just wasn't sure if you did or not. Yeah.
You should continue to rub in the fact
I learned
that
how to play to Bill.
I didn't mean it that way.
You're a fucking buzzkill, Dave.
Jesus Christ,
Eric! I didn't mean it that way. But,
no, I didn't even hear what you said. I was babbling. No, hopefully it happened. That's a bucket list item that I have not checked off. I would like to just go jam with that guy for 15 minutes. I'd fly out to Cali and, put myself up and everything just to go jam with the cat,
Yeah.
Like playing with Johnny is like playing with Bill Ward and Bonham and Johnny, he's got his own thing going. So he and I get, fall right in easy, so yeah, I would love to play with Bill. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Eric, you have been exceedingly generous with your time, and we appreciate you coming on and joining us for a while, man.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Do you want to insult Dave at all, or me, or I mean, it is called Shit Talk Reviews. You are welcome to shoot us on the way out,
please.
No, you guys are too nice. I got off of work, like I wrapped up. I met a bunch of deadlines early, and my son and I did stuff like playing this these board games that we couldn't figure out, and making lemonade. So I'm in a good mood. So I have no shit to throw at anybody.
Eric, I'm a fan. I think it's what you're doing is awesome. I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
I nothing more than after this now would be seeing you play live. So hopefully sometime or someday I can have that experience. But other than that, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Really, I appreciate it, guys.
We appreciate him coming on. It's not just you, Dave. Thanks, Eric.
You got it, man. Thanks again.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it, man.
All right, we'll catch you soon.